Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Two Saw Acres, and today is going to be the very first episode of a new series I'm going to call Inside Look. I know, really original, right? We're just going to take apart random everyday objects and see what's inside of them. If I can explain how it works or, what they do, I will. Hopefully people out there can go ahead and chime in and throw it down in the comments. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm planning on having a lot of fun with this. Some things I'll be taking apart non-destructively because I actually want to see how they work. Like this combination lock here. A few months ago, I posted a video how I was learning how to pick locks, and I've been trying to pick this guy and it's kicking my butt. So I want to see how it actually works. Other things we're going to have a little more fun with. I got a lot of tools around here and we should be able to come up with some pretty unique ways to open things up. And before we get started, if you've got any ideas for future items to go ahead and tear apart, please throw it down in the comments. If you like this kind of stuff, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Let's get going. So first up, we'll take a look at this HDMI cable. This is actually what got my mind thinking about doing this little series, because the other day the missus said, hey, something happened to the TV, it won't work anymore. And I looked back there and apparently this cable had gotten probably wrapped around a dog's head chasing a cat and it just ripped it clean out. I threw the other side out, but figure we'll tear it apart and see what they look like on the inside. And if you're wondering where my awesome AVE 25mm knife is, even though I put a pocket clip on it, it still fell out of my pants a couple weekends ago running a skid steer. And it's still sitting on my buddy's house. I didn't even know where it was. He just got in touch with me and was like, hey, this yours? Yeah, I was just looking for it too. So we should be just about all the way through it. I bet we're close. So let's peel this bugger open. Wow, that cut clean through the whole thing. Let's see if we can't get this housing or this jacketing off of here. All right, let's peel back the rest of the jacketing a little bit. So that's what it looks like on the inside. Bunch of strands of wire. We got an outside jacket, this copper shielding. And then looks like an aluminum and plastic foil wrap around the main core. This is a Belkin brand, so it's not the best, it's not the worst. I got some more shielding. I would assume that's a copper foil of some sort. And these are probably gold-plated pins here on the end, if I had to guess. But you can see how they're not gold-plated all the way. Let's see if we can't get the rest of this plastic sheeting off of here, or molding for the plug. Well, that's it. That's the guts. And this piece right here is not very deep. Like I said, this is the part that broke off of the other one, see? That's what the receiver end, or the male plug end, looks like. Now there is a little bit of a, what would that be called? A divider in there for the pins to go into those little black holes. That's where the pins were. That's it. Moving on to the master lock, combination lock. That should get us pretty close. Look at that, the whole back popped off. Popped open like a tuna can. So let's pull this guy out. So here's the guts. So on the disc it has a cutout. And there's two more cutouts on these two discs. And when they align, this little doodad right here, when it aligns with those three discs, or the cutout in those three discs, this can be turned. See how that can fall into that disc, and then the clip up here falls free. There's a catch on each one of these that catches the next one, and they're spring loaded. Yep, so on the inside of this, when you start spinning that front one, that little button right there grabs this next button right here. Oh, pieces are falling out. So you would spin it 3 times to the right. That grabs all the discs and sets them up at their starting point. Then you stop at a certain number. Then when you rotate back the other way, it stops it again And then when you do that with the right combination, based on where these little pin punches are, it leaves all three of these slots lined up, which allows this paw to drop into those slots and allows it to come open. And this locking paw over here is spring loaded, so you can push past it even if the discs are not in the right spot. Well, when it's going in properly. See how that worked? Now that that disc is out of position, this tab back here can't fall into that groove. So let's put that back. Now I can just pull up and it pops out. I'll be dang. There it is. That's the inside. I'll probably fiddle with that a little bit more, see if I can't figure out how it works and work on another one. Next up is the ballast. This one's gonna be fun. Okay, so the light ballast, or the fluorescent lamp ballast, for those that don't know how these work, keep in mind I'm not an electrician, I'm not an electronics technician, I'm just a backyard hillbilly taking crap apart, okay? I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express once, so, you know, keep that in mind. Basically, fluorescent tubes, they have a mercury vapor inside of them. Now, standard home electricity of 120-ish volts isn't quite enough to go through there. From what I know, fluorescent lights, they have what's called a negative resistance, and I guess what that means is basically as they warm up and keep drawing current, they can keep drawing more current. You know, like an electric motor only will pull as much current as it needs, okay? But these lights will just keep drawing more and more current, and you don't want that. So we have these ballasts, and these ballasts do two things. The first is that in order of operation, it would be to start the light. So that mercury vapor that's inside of the light is not very conductive per se. It takes a really high voltage to arc through there to get it started, to get it glowing, if you will. Once it's glowing and that current is traveling through the light end to end, now it requires a lot less voltage. Current, voltage, and watts are all different things, and amperage. That's something for a different video. But basically, this has a coil in it, a copper coil wrapped around a bunch of steel. And when you initially charge it, that voltage in there goes up and up and up until the arc sparks in the lamp. And then after that arc sparks, the coil goes into a current limiting mode, and it has to do with the magnetic field. As current tries to go through it, it creates a stronger magnetic field, and that stronger magnetic field resists the current going through it. So ballast in its traditional term means a counterweight of sorts. So that's kind of why they're called a ballast, because you're dragging down the current or the amperage of voltage going through the light, the fluorescent light. I have taken these apart before in a scrapping episode. I don't even think I posted that video yet. I did make it, and I'll post it sometime. These are messy to tear apart, and I'll show you why. You'll see why here in a second. There is quite a bit of copper, but it's coated with all of this black resin and stuff, and I'm betting that's what's inside of this. Now, this one in particular does not have any screws or anything holding it together. It's just sheet metal wrapped around and cinched down, clamped and pinched. So we're just gonna have some fun with the air hammer and a chisel and just wreck it. All that potted material in there. You can kind of see right there, that's part of the steel center coil. Your black and white wires would be your main input, so black is hot, white is neutral. These yellows here, when you're wiring it up to the light fixture, those go to the neutral ends of the lights. The reds and blues go to the positive ends, or the live ends. And I know how much of a mess this makes, so I'm gonna cover it with my hand, kind of keep it from exploding. You guys can't see how much is on the floor already. So there's our steel core. with coils. Now this ballast is meant for 2 lights. There's 2 of these in a 4-light fixture. So we'd have 2 coils here, I'm assuming. Again, if somebody else out there has more experience, but hot will go in and power up both of those coils. And each coil probably has, there's 1 blue left over. I don't know where the red went. I probably peeled it off already. Yep. Yeah, so 1 coil was for 1 light and the other coil was for another light, or bulb, we'll say. You can see all the copper coils that are inside of there. Now I'll take it 1 step further and I'll try to get the copper coils off of the steel. And there's usually a cap, like this here is probably a cap. I can probably blow that off and then get these copper coils to slide off. Whole chunk of the copper or the steel plating just fell off this side here. Let's see if we can get, yep, there's the other side. Now we're down to just the main core and the copper windings. They just peel right off. Now if I just cut right down the middle of this thing, a bunch of copper there. And there's the center core. That's what's left of it. Here's the main control, I would imagine. Actually, no, that's just a bunch of potted junk. Oh, it looks like there's a capacitor in there. And these you gotta be careful of. These hold high voltage for long periods of time. And here is the mess that thing made. Little bits of this thing are all over the barn floor. Okay, so there you have it, from this to this, but that's what's inside. All right, folks, well, that's going to wrap up my first Inside Look episode. I appreciate you swinging by. If you like this kind of stuff, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down there. I also have a Thingamajigger Thursday video or series that comes out every Thursday, usually around 5 p.m., where I go over a unique or uncommon tool. That's weekly. I think this one's going to be bi-weekly, maybe once a month, something like that. Again, if you got any thoughts or suggestions on future items to tear down, have fun with, let me know. I plan on getting more creative. I have a bunch of ideas already with my tear down techniques, so that'll be fun to try out. So that's it for now. Keep yanking on them bootstraps. I'll catch you on the next one.